What up, y'all? Appreciate you showing up, hanging out, listening to my dumb ass. Like and subscribe. So, seems that the down badness, the breakdowns of these ponies and donkey unicorns, these fans who had all these talking points about, oh man, Xbox is dead. Oh, they gave up on the console war. They lost the console war. This, that, and the third, right? And everything is happening to PlayStation right now. PlayStation, they literally said that they're no longer focusing or using console unit sales as a metric anymore. They're doing MAUs. I mean, they said it a while ago, but they reiterated it a couple of days ago, or maybe it was yesterday or whatever. And I think it was the VP of PlayStation or something. I don't know. High up. And these, I mean, Porter Rock, he's one of the few that are saying, I told you. That's what the heck. So he recognizes. He may be a Sony fan. I will degrade him to Sony fan. Is he a pony? It's a gray area with him. He has some brain cells. He does. Unlike some of these people who are just losing it. You know, I guess you could put them in the Tim Dog section or whatever. And it's hilarious because I'm watching them, I'm looking at what's going on, and they got nothing. I mean, the fact that they have no games is one thing. It's like, y'all ain't got no games, first of all. Second, y'all supposedly sold 80.3 million units, supposedly. I don't know, Dirt. He said, let's stop saying the sold through, sold in. Let's stop that. We did that the last gen. Let's stop that, right? I'm like, sure. But it's an indication of how desperate Sony is because they want to give you the bigger number and pretend that they're actually doing something when in reality, although I agree with Dirt in this instance, but I'm on both sides. So the fact that they're bragging about a big number and all the other numbers are not big, like Astrobot only selling maybe 2 million, all those games not even selling 10% of the 80, they can't get 8 million sold on anything. So I agree with him on that, but you know, it's still the fact that they're trying to get over, and they have gotten over. You know, they have this false narrative out there, and it's helping them in a way to maintain that popularity. But my thing is next gen, right? So the thing about these consoles, right? It's not about who is the leader now. It's about what you come out with, and if people are down. And Phil has a point. Oh yeah, sure. You know, people are gonna keep going. People who have a PlayStation 5, they'll probably buy a PlayStation 6. Blah blah blah. And there's some truth to that, obviously. But if you make a compelling case, if you make a compelling product that is irresistible, and everybody got to get one, guess what's gonna happen? People are gonna buy it. I don't know if the ROG Xbox Ally is that product. The next gen Xbox, depending on the price, if they decide to subsidize, which they can do that because they have the money to do it. But if they decide to do that, then they could win as far as console sales next gen, because we already know the console's going to be way more powerful than PlayStation 6. We're years away, and we know this already. And you know, people are going to say, how you know? Blah, blah, blah. Look, the leaked specs, we got the PlayStation 6 leaked specs, we got the Xbox leaked specs. People are so dumb that they thought the Xbox specs were PlayStation specs because they're so high. And oh yeah, they got to be PlayStation specs because they're the best and they're the winners and they have the best everything. And no, they don't. That being said, that doesn't mean that PlayStation 6 won't be more popular than the Xbox. But I said this before, I'm going to say it again. There is a wild card. There is a thing that Xbox is doing that if PlayStation does not do this, if PlayStation does not copy this for the PlayStation 6, they are done. They're done, son. Now, there's a couple of ways to implement it. So what I'm talking about is the different store integrations. GOG, Epic Game Store, Steam, in the console space, right? Xbox is doing it, so we know. Um, and if they do it and if they pull it off a certain way, that will entice PC gamers to come over and throw a new Xbox under the TV. Period. Just for that alone. For Steam, just for Steam, I'm not even talking about Epic or GOG or anything. Just for Steam alone, PC players will buy the new Xbox. If PlayStation doesn't have that functionality, then they are a less than console. They're not as good. I mean, it's not even about power at that point. It's about convenience. It's about, yo, this is the everything console. Remember, everybody was talking about, yo, one console to rule them all. Xbox is literally making that kind of sorta. Well, it's the closest thing to that concept. And when I first heard of that notion, one console, whatever, I was like, I mean, I don't know how is that gonna work. And now I see how it's gonna work through Steam, through GOG, through Epic, through Xbox. If PlayStation wants to do a store on PC, then they could do that too. They could. I mean, that would be the smart thing. The smart play for Sony to do is to make their own launcher and own store on PC. Although I don't know how many people would adopt it, but that way they can get 100% of the games that they put up there, and it could just be a mirror of the PS5, the PlayStation store, but just for PC. I don't know. I don't even, does that might actually exist already. I don't even know. I don't know too much about the PlayStation ecosystem. But if Sony doesn't have that, then their console's like, why do I need to buy this? For the exclusives? What exclusives? This is so hilarious. I have to watch Colin. I have to watch all of these fools because I want to see the breakdown. I want to see the crash outs. I want to see it all crumbling down. Remember, I've been saying this for years, right? I'm like, yo, this generation, this ain't the Sony you know. That Sony that y'all know, that new, that's not the same Sony. I kept saying that. I said this for real, and boom. I mean, I knew this was going to happen because everything that Microsoft does, for the most part, Sony copies eventually. Because I guess Microsoft just has, I mean, they have more people working there, obviously. And their business is centered more around computers and networking and infrastructure and live services and games, software. Sony has those things too. But if you want to compare size-wise, Microsoft is way bigger, because that's the bulk of their business. They have the cloud structure, the Azure, and then they have their Xbox, and they have Windows, and then they have Microsoft 365, which falls under Windows, blah, 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 right? Microsoft, what does Sony have? Sony has Sony Pictures. They have a bunch of animation, Sony Animation. They get Crunchyroll, all the movie stuff that's, whatever. They have a chokehold on Spider-Man for now, but they've been fumbling that ball so much that it might be time for them to give it back to Marvel, because they have not been great stewards of that license. And the only reason why the Spider-Man movies are good is because Kevin Feige and their team, Marvel, is actually making those movies. Sony's paying for the production. That's how that works. And then Sony gets the EP, blah, 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 da, da, da. Sony, they use their studios probably, I would assume. Or I don't know, they might have a deal where Marvel uses it all and they just pay them or whatever. I don't know. The point is, Sony is not as focused on video games as Microsoft is, because their whole business is kind of, you know what? I don't want to say that, because I still stand to say that Xbox and Microsoft's gaming division is more entwined into the greater business than Sony, but Sony's is more of an artistic IP type of thing. So they have God of War, is it a movie or is it a series? I think it's a series coming out. And they have all these, Twisted Metals out and stuff. They have all these IPs that are movies and TV shows and stuff. Most of them are not good and fail. I mean, new movies wise. TV shows are okay because there's a lower It's a lower standard. Let's be real. There's a lower standard for television than there is movies. And so they can get away with making okie dokie shows. They're all right. You know, it's Twisted Metal's cute. It's a cute little show. If that was a movie, I'd be like, this is hot trash garbage. They could. I don't know how they could make that a movie. I mean, they could, but I don't think it would be that great. You know what I mean? But it works as a show because it's kind of campy and goofy and all that stuff. But that's what, like, a lot of these Ponies and Donkey Unicorns are saying, oh yeah, that's what they're gonna do. It's not about this new position, putting games on Xbox, which is literally what they said in the copy. They're saying, oh, they're gonna just take their IPs and put them in making movies and TV shows and music and stuff. I'm like, they are so much in denial that yeah, it's ridiculous and it's funny. And guys like X-Vault Gaming, these guys, they're seething and coping, and they're hating, and they make all these videos. I'm like, what? Why does he laugh like that? It's so weird. And he still does look like a koala, but whatever. I cannot watch an actual one of his videos. I have to watch it through somebody reacting to it, because I'm like, I couldn't sit and watch, because as I said, he sounded like Kermit the Frog, right? Kind of, sort of. Sound like a tired Kermit the Frog. Anyway, maybe I'll do a skit with him. Maybe I'll do a skit with all of them one day. But yeah, the crash out is real. It's happening in real time. We see what's going on, and you know, Sony, you know, PlayStation's dead. No PlayStation 6. We're gonna run it up on the bums. You know what King says. You know, it's just there's nothing. I mean, the numbers came out, like Dirt put up the numbers, and it said revenue, right? They said revenue. PlayStation was like 6 point something billion. Xbox was at 5 point something billion, I think. Or no, 4 point something billion, and Nintendo was at like 3 something. And then they showed software and services. I think revenue. I think it was all revenue. Xbox was number one with 6 point something. Was it 6 point? Or maybe 5 point something, 5.8 or something. Close to 6 billion. Sony was second at 4 point whatever billion. Nintendo was at like 1 billion. And so I'm like, hold up. So software and services, they made more money. Xbox made more money. Hardware revenue, PlayStation made more money. But you could like interchange. So I'm like, they're basically even, but not really, because you make more money off of software and services because there's more margin. There's more profit margin on software and services than there is hardware. Yeah, because especially Sony, because their margin. I heard recently that they're still taking a loss on, I think, the PlayStation with the disk drive, because I mean they're making a profit on the PlayStation 5 Potato, Pistol Tech 5 Potato, obviously, because it's $700. But the other ones, they're not. And I was like, oh, okay. So that's why they probably did that, but they're not selling that many. Whatever. It's just, it's crazy to see what's happening. And console, the Ponies and Donkey Unicorns can't handle it. And I mean, it does show a level of mental stability, I guess, or I don't know what you want to call it. But I mean, it's all fun and games, and it's literally video games. But I like to see them squirm. I like to see them, you know, they were talking shite before, right? They're not talking shite now. Why not? Why ain't y'all talking shite? Why don't you, come on, what you got to say? You ain't got to say nothing. You can't say nothing. You got no games. Sony's third party. Full slate. I'm saying full slate. Spider-Man. Can't wait to play Spider-Man on my Series X, baby. Whee! That's going to be fun. But yeah, that's the world we live in right now. And I mean, one thing I want to say, I know Dirt and Sean, they were kind of not reminiscing, but they were like kind of commenting on how, you know, this isn't what it used to be. You know, console wars and the console business isn't what it used to be back in the 90s and stuff. And he's right. I think the difference though is this. Back in the day, you bought a console, you bought a cartridge, or then it went to discs, DVDs and such. And that was it, basically. There was no patch, no day one patch, none of that, right? Now, you don't need physical media. You know, it happened on PC. They said, nah, we're just gonna download the game. Steam, download, boom, done. You have a digital library, that's it. And that's the difference. It's the digital aspect of these games. And, you know, I haven't bought an actual, I mean, I got games. I got gifted a couple of physical games, but I haven't actually bought a physical game. I don't remember when. I just bought like 4 or 5 games on, there was a sale on Xbox. You know, that's why I got Thunder Ray. That's that Punch Out clone. It's kind of better than Punch Out a little bit, but that's a dope game. Shout out to I can't remember who gave it to me, but who told me in the comments. But I appreciate. I got that. I got Prototype 1 and 2. I bought that because I was on sale. I was like, let me get those real quick. What else I did get? I got another game. I can't remember what it was though. But I was like, sale. I'll throw a couple bucks here and there. And people are like, oh, you on Xbox? Oh, you don't buy no games. And I'm like, that's not how it works. Like, if there's a game that I want, and I know I'm gonna be playing forever, ever, then I'll buy it. You know, like Starfield, I'll wait for like a Starfield sale to pop off, and I'll buy a copy of that. You know, maybe I'll try to see if they have a physical copy on Amazon or something real cheap. I'll pick it up and throw it on the shelf. Same with like Cyberpunk. I bought it digitally, and then like the next day I saw it was like actually cheaper physically. I was like, damn. But it's all good. It's all good. That's like one of. I think I might still buy the physical because they usually tend to put a lot of cool stuff in their physical boxes. CD Projekt Red. So like with The Witcher, it had all kind of map and all kind of stuff. I was like, yo, this is dope. Stickers. I was like, yo, let's go. But yeah, it's like, yo, you look at what's going on, right? And everybody's like, I'll go to Nintendo. That's what Dirt says. Hello, this is your boy, Porter Rock, your only friend in these streets. Only friend in these streets. Yeah, nah. That's like if you're gonna leave PlayStation or Xbox because they don't have exclusives anymore, and you're gonna go to Nintendo, to the Switch, have fun playing Donkey Kong and Mario Kart, and not really anything else. Because Switch 2, it may be more powerful than the original Switch, but it's hot trash garbage. It's weakly whack. They're already hitting the ceiling on that thing. They're like, developers like, yeah, we kind of hit the ceiling on this thing around. It's like, what's the point? Why are you gonna? It's crazy. It's crazy. And the bad thing about, like, kind of generally speaking, about the industry right now is that these corporations are pushing the prices up, and it sucks for us because now you look at a Switch 2, what is it, $450 for nothing, just the console, right? And that's an underpowered last gen console, basically. So if you want a next gen console or a this gen console or like coming up to the next gen console, it's going to be more than $450, off the jump, off the rip. And so that's why, like, you listen to the rumors about the PlayStation handheld coming up, and it's going to be mad weak, half the power of a PlayStation 5 and all that stuff. And I'm like, they trying to compete with the Wii. That's what they're trying to do. The problem is, they don't have the games. They don't have Mario. They don't have Zelda. They can't compete with the IP. They tried that before. They tried that with that goofy PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale. That was the dumbest dumb game ever. Remember or what is his name? What is his name? He used to be in charge of that. I forgot. Is it Corso? Anyway, it was bad. And it sucked, and they canceled it, just like they cancel all the other games. They kill it with fire. Destruction All-Stars, Battle Royale. PlayStation Destruction All-Stars. Kill it with fire. I mean, it looked like a cool game, but Sony they don't do like long-term support on games like that. Like if it doesn't pop off right away, no, they kill it. They don't want to waste any money. I'm like, well, that's the problem, because most games that launch, I think with the exception of Apex Legends, I think Apex Legends launched and it was fire and it continued to be fire. But everything else that launched that is big right now was trash, hot trash, garbage, dumpster garbage, fire garbage when it launched. Fortnite was trash when it launched. Sea of Thieves was trash when it launched. I mean, it was like lacking. Some people said, well, Halo wasn't trash when it launched, Halo Infinite, but it didn't have the kind of ongoing support, so it was kind of trash because it didn't have the content to keep it going. But like off the jump, everybody loved it. It got an 87 or something like that. It got a good Metacritic and everything, so it's still a good game. It's just they didn't have the team to support it properly, or they didn't have the system infrastructure in place to support it, like Fortnite. What other games that are big right now? That's Roblox. I'm not gonna say Roblox was trash when it launched. It was a little kiddie game. It still is, by the way. But what it did was it evolved and it changed into something more like Fortnite, or it's a platform within itself, and that's the kind of allure of it. So when kids play Roblox, they're not playing vanilla Roblox. They're like going into some world where, oh, we're having a house party, and my nephew's like, yo, I built a house. I'm like, what game is that? Is that it's Roblox. I'm like, oh, okay. And he's walking around, he's putting furniture in his house. I'm like, what is? I don't even want to know. So yeah, Fortnite's doing that. I think Call of Duty. No, Battlefield. I think is going to do that. Battlefield 6 is supposed to have some kind of build your own stuff. So yeah, I think that kind of functionality in these games and service games is super important. Even Forza has it. Forza 5, Forza 4 had it too, I believe. It's called, I forgot what it's called, but you could build tracks, you could build all kind of crazy stuff, have it go up in the sky, do loop-de-loops and flips and all kind of stuff. It's cool. It takes time and you got to sit there. It's kind of like Forge for Forza. And Forge for Halo, all kind of games. That's why these games stay alive and stay relevant. If Halo was just single player and then traditional multiplayer, it'd be like, nah, nope. But with Forge and with all these other type of user created like utilities and such in the game, that keeps it alive, because a lot of people want to just build games and want to kind of do stuff like that in their games. And so that's really cool. It's the same with Starfield with the mods. I mean, Bethesda games in general with mods. Not on PlayStation though, because PlayStation doesn't allow mods like Xbox does. Xbox allows the same mods that are on PC, so they kind of go across. It takes a little bit longer to go on Xbox, but it's pretty quick. But I said this before, PlayStation doesn't allow that. They only allow certain type of mods that are already in the game, if that makes sense. You can't put in Macho Man on the PlayStation because it's copyright, blah blah blah, whatever. Even though they're not making money off of it, they don't allow it. And they censor a lot of stuff on PlayStation. So I mean, that's another thing that people don't really realize or recognize or point out, is that PlayStation is more draconian than I don't know if draconian is the correct word, but they're more censorship like than Nintendo, which is weird because Nintendo's like a toy. Nintendo's for kids, but they don't censor like PlayStation. PlayStation put a little shiny thing on the butt crack of the girl that was carrying, or was it? It was Devil May Cry, DMC Devil May Cry, the Ninja Theory. Yeah, Ninja Theory made that one, right? Yeah, I think so. And there was a scene where he was carrying homegirl. I guess she was naked, but they didn't show any stuff. But I think they showed her butt crack, and they put a little sparkly thing. I'm like, why are you covering the? Whatever. It's a mature game. Why can't you? So I'm like, that's one reason why I'm staying away from PlayStation, because I'm like, look, I don't need anybody to censor my media. I mean, I'm not going out I'm not going out like Alex to find all the the Fuda games, whatever he calls it. Fudanari, that's what it's called. I had to look that up one time. I was like, Fuda, what is that? Oh wow, okay, that's what it is. Okay, I mean, sure, baby, you like what you like, right? But you know, it's just like censorship is like that's a bad road to go down. You know, we don't want to live in China or one of these other places where you have limited freedom, and they claim, oh, it's for the safety of the citizens, and you know how they do. But anyway, sorry, that's a super tangent. But bottom line, the moral of the story today is that PlayStation is done. PlayStation is dead. PlayStation full slate, third party. Ponies and Donkey Unicorns are gonna have to have eulogies and whatever. They're done. They're done. It's just there's no point in debating. There's no point of fighting. We can just laugh and make fun of them because they got nothing else to say. They got nothing else to say. But I appreciate y'all showing me, like and subscribe. Let me know in the comments below what you think about just the down badness about Sony themselves coming out and say, yeah, it's not about console sales anymore, boop, 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 and about the Ponies and how they're reacting, and who's going to actually survive this Ponyocalypse, Equinox, that's not a word, Equinox, you know what I'm trying to say. Who's going to survive, or who's going to turn into glue? We'll find out in the coming months and years to see. But next gen is definitely really interesting. The new software and new hardware and stuff. It's gonna be can't wait. But I appreciate. I'll talk to y'all on the next one. Tilt the way.